if you take a look, I mean, the wars, I don't know what it is. The Civil War was so fascinating, so horrible. It was so horrible, but so fascinating. It was, I don't know, it was just different. I just find it, I'm so attracted to seeing it. So many mistakes were made. See, there was something I think could have been negotiated, to be honest with you. I think you could have negotiated that. All the people died. So many people died. You know, that was the disaster. If you got hit by a bullet in the leg, you were essentially going to die or lose the leg. That's why you had so many people, no legs, no arms. If you got hit in the arm or the leg, it meant you were up because the infection, gangrene. It was just such a, you know, sort of a horrible time. But I was thinking to myself, because I was reading something, and I said, this is something that could have been negotiated.
A couple of things I want you to pay attention to. Motherfucker is definitely on drugs at the moment. I don't know what. It's not too uncommon for powerful people to take some kind of upper before a speech, but he's really leaning on it. First of all, you can just tell that he looks hollowed out, but he's also talking a lot faster than he normally does, and you can hear his lips smacking. He is definitely leaning on it more than he normally does, okay? That is for damn sure.
But I think it's... you know, Abraham Lincoln, of course, if he negotiated it, you probably wouldn't even know who Abraham Lincoln was. He would have been president, but he would have been president. He wouldn't have been the Abraham Lincoln. Would have been different, but that would have been okay. It would have been a thing that, and I know it very well. I know the whole process that they went through, and they just couldn't get along, and that would have been something that could have been negotiated, and they wouldn't have had that problem. But it was a hell of a time.
What is he waffling about? That is an excellent fucking question. I've watched plenty of Trump speeches. He's definitely different in this one. There is some brain zappery going on at the moment. Like, a lot of it is also him talking quickly, you know? The ability to speak quickly and to enunciate quickly when you generally can't. I mean, you could just be on a good day, but like, you know? He's so sweaty. He looks really weird. He almost looks like, and I'm not joking, I mean, I know he's not, but he almost looks like a Trump impersonator. He looks like an old, like, skinnier, like he's lost weight, white guy. Like, his hairpiece doesn't even seem to be, like, a part of him. It just looks like there's a smudge in the camera up here. You know, you can see him without his hairpiece here very clearly. It just looks like a bald, old man, a shell of his former self. Well, you know, Biden has always had an issue with stammering that is exacerbated with the fact that he's ancient. Donald Trump literally was on TV. Donald Trump is more charismatic than Biden by far, but he's just as old. One of the biggest things holding Trump back here is his energy levels. He's dealing with a bunch of like very serious court cases against him, some of which could put him in jail for the rest of his life. He has to manage that while managing his campaigns. He's out of money. Rudy Giuliani's out of money. There are people flipping on him every day. I don't cover it because I can't cover it all, but every day, like, more bad news trickles down to him from his advisors as they hear about what's going on in this court case or another. This person testified, this person testified. Honestly, Vaush, given the amount of work and stress he's under, his energy is impressive. Yeah, it is. You know, I think that only a coked up New York billionaire with a history in television could possibly withstand this amount of pressure. And hey, listen, he is. But there are limits, you know? I mean, this is what happens pretty often too with like really go-getter old people, which is they keep it going longer than you think, but they just wither at a point, you know? That like past a point, there's just some barrier to their health or their energy levels, and they just start to wither, you know? And again, man's like 80, 78, 79, whatever, you know, in that ballpark. It's because he's vaxxed. Yeah, he also does have the Fauci ouchie, so it could be that.
This trial is bullshit. He used that term. He said, you should not be there, sir. This is beneath you. That's the term he used, beneath. So I didn't go there, and they found me not guilty of the one charge, the big charge, but guilty of stuff I never...
Right now at a rally talking about a civil case of sexual abuse that he lost. This was the one where he pointed at a woman in a photo and said, oh, that was her, and it was actually his wife or something. Like he couldn't tell the difference between his wife at the time and the lady, if I recall. It's that one.
You know, use it.
And look at how out of breath he is. Oh, now we get to hear about China.
They said, is President Xi of China a brilliant man? I said, yes, he is. He's a brilliant man. Next day, Trump said President Xi is brilliant. I said, yeah, I did. They want me to say...
So, okay, I'm not making it up. Listen to how he talks.
Man. Next day, Trump said President Xi is brilliant. I said, yeah, I did.
Ooh. That, like, real, like, actually, he's like, he's gone, dude. Holy fuck. He's slurring. That's not stimming. I mean, even when I'm feeling pretty energetic, I slur my words sometimes if you talk a lot. I mean, he has to be on uppers. There's no way he'd be on downers or whatever. But like, holy shit, dude. I don't think he'll survive to be president again. I actually think there's a greater likelihood of him not being able to be president for health reasons than Biden. Biden's marginally older, but Biden, A, has the best health care in the fucking universe, for one. And B, Biden's just a better decision maker, I feel. I feel like Biden would be a lot more moderate and considerate when it comes to managing his health. Trump seems like he'd be more inconsiderate or take more risks. Also, it does factor in here, certainly. Biden's skinny, Trump's fat. That wears on you, wears in your heart. I don't know, man. He's like, fuck.
Remember Pennsylvania, we were up by like 900,000 votes with, I think it was 900,000 votes with 73% of the vote. I think if I would have lost every vote, I would have won Pennsylvania.
That breath he took, Lamau.
We were up by like 900,000 votes with, I think it was 900,000.
He's out of breath, yeah. He looks rough. Yeah, he does. I guess that's the main thing that I'm getting from this, you know? Sometimes it feels kind of unsatisfying. You want to, like, the analysis has to be big and political. And sure, I mean, there is that. But a lot of what I'm getting from this is just he's fucking dying. You know, he's always been prone to the rambling and the, you know.
But they sit down, bing, 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 boom, it's gone. It's amazing. I think we could use one. Do you like that? Yes. I mean, isn't that better than giving other countries billions of dollars?
Is he talking to a room with 5 people? That sounded like a mid-sized, like, elementary school classroom responding to what he said. Did you hear how close the audience responded, too? That wasn't just, like, distant audience applause. There's some dude 5 feet in front of Trump. Be like, yeah, timestamp for crowd size. Oh, dude, this is worse than I thought. Holy shit. Trump skips on the rallies for months and months, doesn't go to the debates. He does a rally. And this, I knew it was indoors. I mean, you can tell from the audio. But Jesus, I thought it was like, it's a classroom. What? Oh my God. No kid, look at him. He's in front of like a little PowerPoint, like this little like drawdown. Where was this? A school? Jesus. Is this the press pit? There's like one guy. How many cameras are here? Do you remember how big his fucking rallies used to be? Back in 2019, 2020, wait, not 2019. Back in 2020, 2021, 2022, because he kept doing them even after he was president.
Massive salt mines, and they hold the oil. It's natural to them. They don't have to do anything. They put a hole in the ground. They pour the stuff in.
Protect yourself from the 87,000 new IRS agents. Settle your back tax. 87,000 wild hogs in my backyard. They're coming. They're coming for all your goddamn undeclared sources of income. They're coming to ask you very pointed questions about some of these business deductions you made in your previous filing.
Better than giving other countries billions of dollars. Billions. Iraq and Iran were the same. They were the same power.
I'm ready to learn about the Iran-Iraq war. Let's learn. I'm ready.
Almost identical. For 1,000 years, with different names, they've been fighting each other. And one would move 3 feet this way, and then they'd move 3. But we didn't have to do anything because they basically, then they'd stop. They'd be exhausted after 3 or 4 years. Then they'd start. This went on for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
Then we go in and we obliterate one side. And now the other side's a great power. We should have never done that. We should have never gone into the Middle East.
Wait, but in the Iran-Iraq war, there was a lot of Western support for Iraq, and we denied their war crimes at a UN tribunal. We did the opposite. We supported Iraq. And then Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait, and then there was the first Gulf War, and we let Saddam Hussein win. Oh, sorry, not win, live. We let him live, which we probably shouldn't have. And then we invaded again. I love these clips, man.
Obamacare is a catastrophe. Nobody talks about it. You know, without John McCain, we would have had it done. But John McCain, for some reason, couldn't get his arm up that day. Remember? He goes... that like that. That was the end of that. We almost had it, but we're going to make it.
Big talk for someone visibly leaning against a podium, but at the same time, it's a good bit. Thank you.
On day one, I will sign a new executive order to cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory, transgender insanity, and other inappropriate...
Wow. Man, the GOP really is lost, isn't it? This entire time, we haven't heard the crowd cheer once. and then he says the magic words. It's all culture war stuff. There's no other issue that they care about. There's nothing, like dead, empty party, nothing.
It's amazing that you have to even say these things, you know? Who would have
literal Pavlovian response? Yeah, no, literally, like these NPCs, these like fucking 80 IQ troglodytes in the audience legitimately don't like know or care about politics. Is this in Iowa? I'm going to be very racist against the Midwest for a bit, okay? The fact that these people managed to dress themselves for this, okay, given the, I guess I would say, cognitive disposition of the state that they live in, okay, is impressive, all right? They dedicated all their brain cells to that. They don't have any left. It's just the code words now. Critical race theory. Isn't the new thing DEI, right? Diversity, equity, inclusion. You should have said that too, you know, really fold it in. Dress, please, it's Iowa. I'm sorry, sheathe themselves. All right. Did we make it out? Did we watch all the clips that I wanted to go through? As a kind of, we can understand why, like, we've gotten the vibe. There is, however, I've saved the best for last, the single most important clip, critically important.
They had an almost $1 billion cost overrun on the magnetic elevators. Think of it, magnets. Now, all I know about magnets is this. Give me a glass of water. Let me drop it on the magnets. That's the end of the magnets. Why didn't they use...
Am I having a stroke? Yeah, I guess, I don't know if he misspoke, but given who he is, it's genuinely possible that Donald Trump thinks that magnets become demagnetized if they get wet. It's not impossible that he believes that. You know, like, it's him. He thinks that exercise shortens your lifespan. I don't really know. In all seriousness, the only real, like, thing of interest here, there are two things of interest here that you should internalize. The first important one is that Republicans essentially have no party platform. There is a vague anger and discontent they feel that gets triggered by certain code words: trans, DEI, CRT, but that's it. The average Republican voter might respond to this in the same way that the muscles of a dead man might move if you subject them to an electrical current, but there's no thought happening there. There's no choice. It's just Pavlovian, as some chatter said. So yeah, keep that in mind. The GOP is a rudderless boat. Oh yeah, fully. It's all collective psychosis. You could talk to them. They wouldn't even know why they feel that way. They wouldn't even be able to describe their feelings or why. So that's one thing. The second thing is that I think that Trump's health is going to become more and more of an issue as time goes on. The man is under a huge amount of stress. And what's more, unlike Biden, who's surrounded by, you know, White House staff, Donald Trump consistently surrounds himself with sycophants and yes men who are likely to act outside his good interest. Do you think Donald Trump is surrounded by a bunch of, like, well-meaning do-gooders who are constantly advising him on what's good for his health? No, of course not. He's surrounded by the same lunatic grifters that he's always surrounded himself with. And, you know, I think there's a very high possibility that he just burns himself through. Now, even burnt through, he could still end up running and winning. You know, it's not like we live in a fair system, but we'll have to see.